More on the investigation, including what Paddock's girlfriend is saying. But first, a Sacramento couple who was at the Las Vegas Route 91 concert. As those shots were fired, they are back home safe tonight. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Sam Shane.
And I'm Christina Janes. CBS 13's Shirin Rajae joins us now with more on their experience tonight. What a story.
Yeah, definitely. Sam and Christina, as you can imagine, a huge relief for this couple to be back home. They're still trying to process everything they saw and witnessed that night, and it's been an emotional last few days. I sat down with them just earlier today as they shared how they escaped a night that will change them forever.
Like thousands of others, Lisa and Chip Schau were enjoying their final day of the music festival when the shots rang out. After moments of confusion, Chip turns to his wife and says, "We have to run." As they ran, they soon found out they were caged in and had to break down fences to get out, while masses of people, many injured and bloodied, followed right behind them. As more gunshots were heard, the couple ducked behind a car, then continued their run that led them and dozens of others to a dead end. That's when total strangers pulled up in a van and said, "Get in."
These strangers were in it, and they're like, "You guys need to get in the car with us." But I was still frozen in fear, and he grabbed me. He's like, "We're getting in this truck." 20 of us piled in the back. We were on top of each other, like we couldn't breathe. I mean, we were trying to lay flat as we could.
I cannot thank them more than anything. I wish I knew who they were.
Those good Samaritans rushed the couple and others to a safe place where everyone just sheltered in place on lockdown. After several hours of pure terror, they felt it was finally safe to return to their hotel. And although they're back home now, holding each other's hands, the images and sounds they heard continues to haunt them.
How did we get spared? You know, like we must have just been stepping in the right places at the right time, and it's a miracle we didn't get hit.
And of course, this couple is so grateful to be back home with their families, but they're also saying they commend the Good Samaritans who rushed to their aid, everybody there that helped them, even the ordinary people that stood in their way and helped them get through that rush of that chaos.
Well, obviously from the interview we just saw with her, they're still feeling this. And, you know, you and I have talked about this post-traumatic stress disorder that affects so many people. And they're going to live with this forever, it seems, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I just flew back a couple hours ago. It's hard. This is heavy stuff. And I don't think, honestly, even though we've seen these images dozens of times now, I don't think we really understand the gravity of the situation that unfolded here in Las Vegas. The people that I've been speaking with saying the videos that we're seeing, the gunshots were 100 times louder than what we even are experiencing through a video. One gentleman was saying, "Have you seen the movie Saving Private Ryan?" That first opening war scene was exactly what we were experiencing. And to see the rush of people, I mean, these videos kind of give you some kind of a perspective. But when I was actually out there and I saw what was left of this park where they had this concert, we're talking about so many personal belongings, cell phones, people just dropping things as they were running for their lives. Here we're looking at vigils. We saw a lot of vigils kind of popping up throughout town, and the community really trying to come together, from tourists that were there to just enjoy Las Vegas. I mean, this is a place where people were coming to have fun, and then they ended up that night at vigils crying, trying to come together, saying that we will not be defeated by this. I think that was a huge message that people were saying, is we refuse to be scared. We refuse to not go to some of the things that we love to do, because they win in the end if we do that.
Right.
But it was a nightmare. These videos of people being pulled out on stretchers. We actually got a chance to go inside one of the main hospitals, the closest hospital to the Strip, Sunrise Medical. They took in the most patients, and one by one, these patients were coming in droves, and they were coming in private cars, Good Samaritans picking people up from the street and taking them to the hospital, or of course the great work of the AMR and ambulances and first responders there that were trying to get them there. We asked the doctors, how did you manage all these people? And they said, we had to come up with a plan instantly and triage the most seriously injured, the most critically injured, get them on one side, get them into the operating room. The ones that we had to also tag in different colors to see which injuries can wait an hour, which had to get addressed, you know, within the next few minutes. And the patients were so selfless. I was able to go into some of the patient rooms, and they said, hey, don't help me. I've been shot once, but I can still talk. Go help that person, you know? And they were talking about the level of just, I want to share one more story. This firefighter who I interviewed, off-duty firefighter, enjoying the concert with his friend and saying that he saw when the gunshots rang out, he wanted to obviously a lot of who were running for their lives, but he saw a man shot in the neck, and he said he couldn't stop. So he started giving CPR to this guy. And while everyone's running and screaming around him, he's doing chest compressions on a total stranger he doesn't know. While he's doing those chest compressions, he gets hit.
Oh, jeez.
And the shot, you know, he falls back, but he continues to help that person. It was just amazing.
Somebody,
you know.
somebody said the best and the worst of humanity.
Absolutely.
All at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So yes, it's going to take some time, I think,
Yeah.
Sam, and that post-traumatic stress is going to be impacting a lot of us.
A lot of us
Yeah.
for a long time. Great work.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you for that perspective.
Thanks.
We appreciate that very much.